Hello students, welcome back to Effortless Chemistry. Already we have started group 16 of the P block elements. In the last session we have discussed up to reactivity towards hydrogen, oxygen and halogens. Now we will discuss anomalous behavior of oxygen. So already you know what is anomalous behavior. Anomalous behavior of oxygen. In case of group 15 we have discussed anomalous behavior of nitrogen. The same thing for group 16 we are discussing anomalous behavior of oxygen. Anomalous behavior is nothing but in each group, the first element of each group, it will show different properties than the remaining members of the same group. That different properties of the first element, that is called as what? Anomalous behavior. For example, in case of group 16, if I take the members of group 16, oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium and polonium. In case of group 16, this oxygen being first member, it will show different properties than the remaining members of the same group. These remaining members, they will show different properties and oxygen shows what? Different properties. That property of this oxygen is called as what? Anomalous behavior. The reason for this anomalous behavior of oxygen is because of its small size. See here, down the group atomic size is increasing. So in this group, oxygen is having a smaller size. Because of its small size, it shows what? Anomalous behavior. And it is having the properties related to the small size of the atom, like it is having high electronegativity, high ionization energy, and the most important thing is, since it is belonging to the second period, it is not having any vacant d orbitals. There is absence of vacant d orbital in case of the oxygen. So all these factors they will impart that anomalous behavior to the oxygen here. So what are the important reason for the anomalous behavior of oxygen here? Anomalous behavior of oxygen is due to first important point is because of its small size, due to its small size, and the second point is since it is having a smaller size, this is the highest electronegative element in the group 16 as well as it is the second highest electronegative element in the periodic table also. So you have to remember all these points. So second point is because of its high electronegativity, En I will write, and the third point is it is not having any vacant d orbitals due to absence of vacant d orbitals. So because of these three reasons, this oxygen it shows the different properties than the remaining members of the group 16 here. Now I will write the points of difference. Some points of difference between the oxygen and the remaining members. Points of difference. First point, if I write oxygen and the remaining members, selenium, that is sulfur, selenium and tellurium and polonium, it is a radioactive element. In case of group 16, only this oxygen is a gas, but the remaining members are what? They are available in the solid state. Remaining all are solid, only oxygen is the gas in case of group 16. Second point, oxygen is a diatomic. Oxygen, it exists as a diatomic molecule, but the remaining members, they exist as what? Octatomic molecule. Already we have discussed the remaining members, they are not able to form the p5 multiple bond, hence they prefer to form a single bond and they exist in the 8-membered ring like crown shape. So these all are what? Octatomic, and only oxygen is what? Diatomic here. Sulfur, that is Se8, this is Se8 and this is Te8. So the remaining elements are octatomic. Okay, the next point will go for the maximum covalency. So the next point is covalency, the points of difference, that is the maximum covalency of the oxygen is 4 here. I'll write maximum covalency. What is the covalency? The number of covalent bonds formed by the element will be equal to covalency. The maximum covalency is 4, means the number of orbitals which are available in its valence shell is maximum 4 only. That is nothing but one 2s orbital is there and another 3 2p orbitals are there. Therefore, maximum 4 orbitals are available in the valence shell of the oxygen. Hence, they will form what? Maximum 4 bonds only. In case of oxygen, there is absence of the vacant d orbital. If you go for the remaining elements, that is the sulfur, selenium and tellurium, in these elements, due to the presence of vacant d orbital, they will show excited state. Already we have discussed in the oxidation state here. So, due to presence of the vacant d orbital, they will show excited state and they will be having 4 to 6 unpaired electron. Hence, they will show what? The maximum covalence of 6 also. But in case of oxygen, it is only 4 here. This is what the difference between the covalency of the oxygen and remaining elements. Remaining elements can extend their covalency beyond 4, but oxygen is what? Only 4 here. So, the maximum covalency in the remaining elements will be equal to 6 here. Okay, this is what the point of difference. Next, if you go for hydrides of group 16, if I write water molecule, next H2S, H2SE and H2TE. Here also again there is a difference in the physical state as well as in the melting and boiling point with respect to water and the remaining hydrides here. Down the group here the molecular size is increasing in this way. So, as the molecular size increases, van der Waals force of attraction increases. Therefore, melting and boiling point for the remaining hydrides, it will increase in the downward direction towards the H2TE here. Then what happens in this direction? Melting and boiling point increases because size is increasing. Size increases means van der Waals force of attraction. Van der Waals force of attraction also what? Increases here. Van der Waals force of attraction. Hence, their melting point and boiling point increases down the group here. But in case of water, the melting and boiling point is exceptionally higher than the remaining hydrides. According to the trend, the melting and boiling point of the water must be less than the remaining hydrides. But here what happens? Due to the small size and high electronegativity of the oxygen atom, this water molecule is involved in the intermolecular hydrogen bonding. Due to the presence of intermolecular hydrogen bonding in the water, the melting and boiling point of the water is exceptionally higher than the remaining hydrides. So, the melting and boiling point of water is what? Higher than the remaining hydrides. I will give the mark this side. So, this will be melting point will be higher for this one and next boiling point also higher for this one. What is the reason for this? Due to presence of hydrogen bonding in the water here. And due to the presence of hydrogen bonding in the water, this water is available in the liquid state. H2O is available in the liquid state due to the presence of what? Strong intermolecular hydrogen bonding in the water. But these elements, that the remaining hydrides, these are not able to form the hydrogen bonding because of their large size and less electronegativity of the central atom. They are not able to form the hydrogen bonding. Since they are not able to form the hydrogen bonding, just a weak van der Waals force of attraction is existing between them. Hence, the remaining hydrides, all of them, they are existing in the gaseous state. All of them are what? Gas, but only water is liquid. So, the melting and boiling point of the water is higher than the remaining hydrides. Again, the reason is what? Intermolecular hydrogen bonding in the water. So, in case of water molecule, I will show the intermolecular hydrogen bonding. This is the H2O molecule and this is a partial positive, this is partial negative and this is partial negative, partial positive, this is partial positive. There is a force of attraction between this electropositive hydrogen atom and highly electronegative oxygen atom. So, this electrostatic force of attraction between these two, this is what? Hydrogen bonding. Since it is formed between the two molecules, it is intermolecular hydrogen bonding. Intermolecular hydrogen bonding it is. So, due to the intermolecular hydrogen bonding, the force of attraction between the molecule increases, hence their escaping tendency decreases, their melting and boiling point increases here. This is what the points of difference between the oxygen and the remaining elements, and this is about the anomalous behavior of oxygen. Next we will go for preparation of dioxygen. Now we will discuss preparation and properties of dioxygen. Now we will discuss preparation and properties of dioxygen. First one we will write dioxygen. First we will discuss the preparation of dioxygen. Dioxygen is prepared just by heating the oxygen containing salts here. First method I will write, that is by heating oxygen containing salts. So in that one, first point I will write by heating potassium chlorate in presence of MnO2 catalyst. So we will take potassium chlorate first. We will take 2 times of KClO3. This on heating in presence of MnO2, it will decompose to give 2 times of KCl plus 3 times of O2 here. Next point, by heating nitrates and permanganates. So first one I will take potassium nitrate, 2 times of KNO3. This on heating, it will convert into what? 2 times of KNO2 plus O2 here. See here, simply you can write like this. Suppose if I take KNO3, this on heating it will convert into what? KNO2, and it is giving 1 oxygen. So we have to write always oxygen in the molecular state. That's why we will take what? 2 moles. It will come out as 2 mole. 2 oxygens are coming outside. So that we will write what? O2 here. This is what the logic behind taking 2 moles here. Next one, 2 moles of potassium permanganate, 2 moles of KMnO4. This on heating it will convert into potassium manganate, that is K2MnO4 plus it will give 1 mole of MnO2 plus O2. So in this way you can prepare oxygen by heating oxygen containing salts here. Next method, by heating metal oxides we can prepare the oxygen here. Alright, next method, that is a preparation of dioxygen by heating metal oxides. So by heating metal oxides, oxygen will be coming outside. For example, if I take silver oxide Ag2O, this on heating here, this on heating I will take 2 times of Ag2O, it gives 4 times of Ag plus O2 is coming outside. Next if you take mercuric oxide HgO, so this on heating you take again 2 moles of Hg is coming outside and giving out 1 mole of O2. Next you can take Pb3O4, this on heating you take 2 moles here, so that you will get 6 times of PbO, and remaining how many oxygens are there here? 2 oxygens are coming outside, that will be O2. Or else you can take PbO2 also. This PbO2 on heating you take 2 moles, again you will get 2 moles of PbO plus O2. Already in case of group 15 we have discussed inert pair effect. In that one we know that even the inert pair effect of the lead also, in case of lead +2 oxidation state is more stable as compared to +4, so that on heating readily it will convert into what, +2. You can write like this. The next one is by thermal decomposition of hydrogen peroxide, that is H2O2, in presence of catalyst MnO2. Even if you heat hydrogen peroxide, that is H2O2, this H2O2, this on heating it will convert into what, 2 moles of water plus O2. So these are all the laboratory methods for the preparation of dioxygen. So the next method will be large scale method for the preparation of dioxygen. We will go for that one. Next method is large scale preparation of dioxygen on the large scale. Large scale preparation of dioxygen here. So in this one, the first method is by the electrolysis of water. By the electrolysis of water. What is electrolysis? Just it is a passing electrical current through the aqueous solution. So here we are passing electrical current through what? Water. So for the electrolysis of water, you have to pass the electrical current through the water just by placing 2 conducting rods in the water. So I will take like this here. In this vessel, this is electrolytic vessel. In this one, we will take water. Okay. Up to this, we will take water. And in this one, 2 conducting rods are placed here like this. And one is connected to the negative end, and another conducting rod that is connected to the positive end. So this positive end is called as what? Anode, and this negative end I will call it as cathode. On passing the electrical current, what happens here? Here you will be having oxide ions, that is O minus 2 is also there, and here H plus ions are also there. Here on passing electrical current, these ions are attracted towards the opposite electrode and they get discharged. So here hydrogen, that is H plus ions, are attracted towards what? Cathode, and this O minus 2, they are attracted towards the anode here. So oxygen gas is liberated at the anode and hydrogen gas is liberated at the cathode here. So at anode oxidation takes place and at cathode reduction takes place. You can remember like this, AOCAR, nothing but anode oxidation, cathode reduction here. So at the anode you will be getting what? Dioxygen here. So I will write the reaction. Here we will write at cathode. At cathode reduction takes place, so that 2 times of H plus ion, they will take 2 electrons, they get discharged here, so that there is a liberation of what? Hydrogen gas at the cathode. So at anode oxidation takes place. This 2 times of O minus 2, they will form O2 and they will give out 4 electrons. 1 O2 minus gives 2 electrons, and 2 O2 minus, they will give what? They will give 4 electrons, so that oxygen gas is liberated at the anode here. This is what large scale preparation of oxygen by the electrolysis of water. Next the second method is from the air. Preparation of dioxygen from the air. Simply we know that this air, it is a mixture of different gases. It is having carbon dioxide is present in the air, and water vapors also present in the air, and this atmospheric air that contains 79% of the nitrogen and 21% of oxygen by the volume. So all these are present in the air here. First you have to remove from the air first CO2 and water vapor, these two are removed from the air, then the remaining gases, that is nitrogen and oxygen, they are liquefied. Then after liquefying, they are subjected to the fractional distillation. After doing fractional distillation, the liquid nitrogen and liquid oxygen these two are obtained, and which are separated later here. Simply what you have to do is, from the air, first CO2 and water molecule, these two are removed, and then the remaining gases are liquefied, and they will subjected to what? They are subjected to the fractional distillation. Then the remaining, the liquid nitrogen and liquid oxygen, these two are separated here. First, I will write first CO2 and water vapors are removed from the air, then remaining gases are liquefied, and they are subjected to fractional distillation, to get liquid nitrogen and liquid oxygen, which are separated later. Later they may be separated. This is what the large scale preparation of dioxygen. First one is by the electrolysis of water, and the second one is what? From the air it is. Now we will go for properties of dioxygen. Now the properties of dioxygen. So properties of O2. The first point is, it is colorless, odorless gas. Next, it is highly soluble in the water. Its solubility in water is 3 ml per 100 ml of water. So it is highly soluble in the water. Next point, it liquefies at 90 Kelvin and freezes at 55 Kelvin. Okay. Next point is, it has 3 stable isotopes. That is oxygen 16, oxygen 17 and oxygen 18. Next point is noble metals like gold and platinum will not react with O2 directly. This is very, very important point. You have to remember, gold and platinum, they will not react with oxygen directly. Next point, it is paramagnetic in nature. Already you have studied in the MOT. So this O2 molecule is paramagnetic in nature because it has 2 unpaired electrons in the antibonding 5 star orbital, that is 5 star 2 px and 5 star 2 py. It is having one unpaired electron. That's why it is paramagnetic in nature. due to presence of two unpaired electrons in 5 star 2px and 5 star 2py ABMO, antibonding molecular orbital. It is paramagnetic in nature. Next point is the bond energy of O2 molecule. Between the two oxygen there is a double bond is there. O double bond energy. So bond energy will be equal to how much? 493.4 kilojoule per mole. And this oxygen, already we know that it is being a highly electronegative element. It combines with metals and non-metals to form the respective oxides, but the reaction of this oxygen with the metals is highly exothermic. The reaction of oxygen, that is O2, with metals is highly exothermic. Okay, these are the important properties of the O2. Now we will write the reactions of this oxygen with the metal and some of the non-metals and with some compounds also. Okay, now we will write the reaction of dioxygen with the metals and non-metals. First one we will write reaction with metals. Already we know that this oxygen is highly electronegative and the metals are highly electropositive. They will readily combine together. So if I take the first group metal, sodium, and in second group we will take magnesium and calcium, and in the third group we will take aluminum. From D block also we will take one metal, that is iron. Okay, so all these metals, they will react with what? Oxygen. That is, I will take reaction of O2 with all these metals. Okay, now you see here, you have to write the reaction like this. Sodium is what? Na plus, it is group 1, and oxygen is -2. What is the formula between these two now? Na2O here. So it will form what? Na2O, and two oxygens are there, one oxygen is there. So this must be multiplied with 2 here, so that you have to take 4 times of sodium. Okay, this is what? Next one. This is 4 sodium, 2 oxygen and 2 oxygen. Now the remaining is what? This is Mg plus 2, O minus 2. It will form what? Simply magnesium oxide, MgO. 2 oxygen, you take 2 moles of MgO, and to balance magnesium, again you take 2 moles of magnesium here. Similarly, in case of calcium also, it is a group 2 element. So this is a calcium is plus 2, oxygen is minus 2. It will form calcium oxide. So 2 oxygen, you take 2 moles here. So you balance the calcium like this. Next one. Aluminum is plus 3 and oxygen is what? Minus 2. This is aluminum is plus 3, oxygen is minus 2. What will be our formula here? Al2O3. So like this you have to do the rough work, and then you write Al2O3 here. 3 oxygen, 2 oxygen, multiplied with 3, multiplied with 2 here. So total 6 oxygen, 4 aluminum, here is 4 aluminum. Okay. In this case, Fe, it has two possibilities, because in case of Fe, two oxidation states are possible. If it is Fe plus 2 or if it is Fe plus 3. Oxygen is what? Always it is minus 2. Here also it is minus 2. It can form two compounds, that is FeO also in the plus 2 oxidation state. In the plus 3 oxidation state, it forms Fe2O3 also. So I will write the first one. I will write FeO, 2 times of FeO. I will write 2 times of Fe. In the plus 3 oxidation state, what I will take here? Fe combines with O2 to form Fe2O3. It is Fe2O3, and you take 2 oxygen is there, 3 oxygen is there, multiplied with 2, and this is multiplied with 3. 6 oxygen, 4 iron you have to take here. This is what the reaction of oxygen with the metals. Now we will go for non-metals. and we'll write the reaction with some compounds also. And this oxygen being highly electronegative next to the fluorine, so even it will show the negative oxidation state with some of the other non-metallic elements. We will write, suppose if I take oxygen, that is carbon we will take from group 14, and in 16 you will take sulfur also. Next in group 15 I will take phosphorus in the form of P4. Okay, carbon combines with O2, sulfur also combines with O2, phosphorus also combines with O2 here. Carbon combines with O2, it will form what here? Carbon dioxide. This is a CO2 because carbon is electropositive as compared to oxygen. This is -2 and this shows what? +4 oxidation state in the excited state. So it will form C2O4 and this can be equivalently written as what here? CO2. So you have to write CO2 here. Next sulfur combines with oxygen, it will form what? SO2. In the same way it will show +4 oxidation state. In the +4 oxidation state it will form SO2. If it is a +6 oxidation state it will form what? SO3 also. Next this phosphorus is electropositive as compared to oxygen here. So in this case phosphorus shows +5 oxidation state and oxygen is what? -2. And another possibility also there, and this is a +3 and this is -2 also. So in the +3 oxidation state it will be P2O3. In the +5 oxidation state it will be what? P2O5. So here they will write in the NCERT they have given dimeric form of P2O5. This is nothing but they have written directly P4O10 it is. P4O10 means you have to take 5 times of O2, so that total 10 oxygen. This P4O10, this is nothing but equivalently written as what? 2 times of P2O5. This is what the reaction of this oxygen with the non-metals. With the compounds it will form. Now with the compounds it will react like this. We will write the reaction with the compounds. Suppose if I take zinc sulfide, this already you know it in the isolation topic. This is nothing but conversion of sulfide ore into the oxide, that is nothing but roasting, that is heating the sulfide ore, that is a concentrated ore in presence of oxygen to form what? Oxides, because oxides are more easy to reduce as compared to sulfides, you know that one. So this combines with oxygen. In this one what happens? On heating this zinc sulfide with oxygen, what happens here? Sulfur also combines with oxygen and this zinc also combines with the oxygen. So that what happens here? There is a formation of zinc oxide as well as there is a formation of what? SO2 here. So in total here 3 oxygen and here is only 2 oxygen. This is multiplied with 3 and this is these two are multiplied with 2 here simply. So what you will get here? 2 times of zinc you want. So 2 times of zinc, 2 sulfur and total 6 oxygen, and 2 plus 4 is what? 6 oxygen it is. This is what the reaction of oxygen with the compounds. Suppose if I take HCl. HCl is what here? This on treating with oxygen. Again this oxygen has more affinity towards the hydrogen. These hydrogen they will combine with oxygen to form what? Water molecule. I will take this one 4 moles of HCl here. So that 4 hydrogen combine with 2 oxygen to form 2 moles of water plus remaining 4 chlorines. They will come out as what? Cl2 it is. Okay. Next reaction, catalytic oxidation of SO2. SO2 is converted into what? SO3. So that this is the +4 oxidation state and this is +6 oxidation state. SO2 combines with O2 to form what? SO3, because you take here SO2 combines with 1 oxygen to form what? SO3. 2 times of SO2 combines with O2, 2 oxygen to form what? 2 times of SO3. This is called as catalytic oxidation of SO2 to the SO3, where oxidation state will change from what? +4 to +6. This catalytic oxidation is because of what? Presence of V2O5. This acts as catalyst for this reaction here. Next reaction, and a very well known reaction is remaining, that is a reaction with hydrocarbon. That is, if I take CH4, this will react with oxygen. This oxygen on heating with the hydrocarbon, carbon is oxidized to CO2 and the hydrogens are converted into what? Water molecule. One carbon is there, you write 1 CO2. 4 hydrogens are there, you write 2 moles of water molecule. Okay, this is what that is a combustion reaction, we will call it as. You can take another example. I will take CTH4, this on heating with oxygen. So if you heat this one, what happens here? 2 carbon, you take 2 moles of CO2 plus total hydrogen is 4, you form 2 moles of water molecule here. Here you have to balance the oxygen. How many oxygens here? 4 oxygens are there, you take 2 times of O2, and here also how many oxygens are there here? 4 plus 2, 6 oxygens are there, you take 3 times of O2, 6 oxygen, and this is 6 oxygen, 2 carbon, 2 carbon, 4 hydrogens, 4 hydrogens. So this is what the reaction of oxygen with the metals, non-metals, and with the other compounds also.